Showtime.
It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
We are professional wrestling.
I'm building an alliance.
You are tuned into
the absolute top of the mountain, the ultimate professional wrestling.
Alliance-wrestling.com.
Hey guys, what is up? I'm sorry if the camera quality isn't quite what we're used to here on the show. Had some technical difficulties, so we're making do with the best that we can with what we got. Sorry if the audio doesn't sound great. I apologize. I can't do a whole lot about it, but here we are. This is the time. This is the place. This is the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one support. Whoa, your number one place for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance and the United Wrestling Network. And who knows, and maybe 2022 will expand our reach a little bit. There is a packed house today, and awesome. I appreciate you guys being here. It's always a good time. I see Heebs is in the house. Sean Mega's here. Willie Bowen's in the house. Terry McDermott. Certified Hustler. Bobby Batito. You're all here. Yeah, I mean, look, man, Certified Hustler. You called it, brother. You said that junior heavyweight championship would be coming back. And it is. And it is. So, I mean, that's pretty cool, man. Just trying to get caught up with all the comments. Lamb's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Everybody's here. Dave Scooby. First and foremost, I mean, tonight is the night, the NWA. It's the season finale, don't you know? Which I don't really know what that means. I know that we're coming close to the end of the month. So the TV tapings in December are just around the corner. If I'm looking at my my calendar here, today is November the 23rd. That means that literally we're about 10 days away from the tapings that are going to be happening. I believe it's next Friday in Atlanta. The new program that there's not a whole lot of information that's been released yet about that new program. We do know that the NWA will be producing a new weekly television show, which is exciting because we're seeing this influx of talent, whether it be from Ring of Honor or some of the guys that have just been picked up off the indies. Guys like Austin Aries, who has literally been radio silence for the last year and a half. So you'll see a lot more going on. As Certified Hustler brings it up, man, I mean, look, Attila Khan is challenging for that World's Heavyweight Championship on December the 1st. And if Trevor Murdoch is successful in defending that title in St. Louis, Missouri, then he will be a part of the tapings on December 3rd. And, of course, the pay-per-view December 4th. A lot of good things are happening. Personally, December 3rd, I will not be in Atlanta, Georgia. I will be in Tijuana, Mexico, and I will be a part of the MLW Crash Luchas Libres Azteca showcase. And I'm sure I'm butchering that. I got the hookup with SoCal Uncensored, and so we're going to go down there, and hopefully I'm going to really effort to get some interviews with your NWA World Tag Team Champions who won't be at that live TV taping on December the 3rd because they'll be in Tijuana defending those Crash titles. So it'll be pretty dope. I'm really looking forward to it and just growing out this channel. Maybe we'll start including MLW in the discussion. I had a topic offline. We were talking to a few of my pals, my contemporaries. And in 2022, man, I really would like to start covering Mission Pro a lot more closely. It's the all women's wrestling promotion in Texas. I mean, they were just in Cornwall, Texas. They've been in Buda, Texas. Next month, they're in San Antonio. And it's Thunder Rosa's wrestling promotion, if you don't know. A lot of the ladies who have come to the NWA had a cup of coffee with Mission Pro. And it just seems like a really good promotion that could benefit from the reach from the Alliance. And maybe, maybe at some point down the road, we'll cover some more wrestling promotions. We're very close to the New Jersey-based Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. In 2022, you'll hear me talk more and more about that. Might even make a trip out to New Jersey to see that. You guys are killing it with the comments, and I'm trying to keep up with you. But yeah, Bobby Petito brings up that the Blonde Force Trauma tag team of Heather Monroe and Ray Lynn are wrestling for Mission Pro on December the 11th. Those could be potential challengers for the NWA Women's Tag Team Champions, and who knows, maybe they'll be part of these TV tapings that are happening December 4th, 5th, and 6th, and December 3rd. I mean, it's literally so much stuff is happening, right? But again, there's wow, you guys are going so crazy. I'm going to try to keep up. But there's a lot of stuff going on for the NWA. Of course, we're trying to stay on top of it. About a year and a half ago, I made a video and I said, rising tides raise all boats in the harbor. And so we're trying our best. We're trying our best to get as much content out there. But keep in mind, guys, we're here to support the whole community. We're here to work together and try to grow this. So we're here trying to make things happening. Certified Hustler says that the Crockett Cup, I don't have to just read it. I can pull that out. Certified Hustler says the Crockett Cup is coming back in February. And you guys, you got to take what Certified Hustler says with a little bit of truth to it, because, I mean, you've been wrong a few times, Hustler, but you certainly were right about that Junior Heavyweight Championship. You were certainly right about Trevor Murdoch coming back to St. Louis. So everyone needs to, kind of give it up to the guy. Terry McDermott says, who will face Mike Knox if Attila wins? I mean, in traditional fashion, it's usually if a world champion, if the title changes hands, the champion is supposed to assume those bookings, but anything could happen with the NWA. We're not entirely sure. Certified Hustler says he's excited for Austin Aries. Matthew Underwood says, is Austin Aries going to play nice? Look, I can't begin to try to evaluate the mentality or the mindset of our friend Austin Aries. He, the last time that I had anything close to a relationship with Austin Aries, he was still working for the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood when they were still under the NWA banner. And that was a part of, what was the group's name? It escapes me right now. The Standard. And the Standard was Adam Pearce, Austin Aries, Peter Avalon, and Joey Chaos. And that stable was pretty electric in the old NWA Hollywood. I'm really hoping to see more from that down the road. Willie Bowen says, hey, Jake, how do you think Chris Dickinson would make an appearance on NWA Power? I will first and foremost say this, right? We never know what will happen in pro wrestling. Things can change in a heartbeat. As of right now, our boy Chris Dickinson, your United Wrestling Network world champion, is currently on the IL. He's on the injured list, suffering an injury at the New Japan Strong Show when he was teaming with Brody King. Had a separated hip, had to have a surgical procedure to get that going, and he might be out of action for up to 5 months, but he's already on the mend. He's already back in the gym. I know it's not 100%, but I really think he could come back as something very special for the NWA, and we'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath that United Wrestling Network talent will show up in the NWA, but I mean, already as it is, Slice Boogie, JR Kratos. Look, Kratos isn't really a Hollywood guy. He's more of a New Japan Strong guy, so I'll strike that from the record. But we have seen Jordan Clearwater, Slice Boogie, Captain Yuma, all those guys kind of really made their names out in Hollywood. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next with those guys. So it's good. Hustler's saying that he's on it. He's telling me that he's on it, guys. So maybe we'll get some breaking news here soon. Hustler's saying that the Briscoes will be here soon. Hey, man, Hustler, you're throwing out a lot of claims, and I'm hoping that all of them are right. I think the Briscoes showed at the Crockett Cup 2019 that they could mix it right in. But, the thing about it is there's going to be a lot of gentleman callers for these talents, right? Like the Ring of Honor talents aren't just necessarily going to show up in the NWA. I think we were really, really lucky to get the original Kingdom, Taven and Bennett, and I'm sure we'll have Marie Canales as there as well, to show up in the NWA. I think that was really, really cool. But the problem is that's not – I don't think everyone on the roster is going to be able to come over. It's not going to port over. And especially when you got a tag team like the Briscoes, I mean, if I'm AEW, if I'm Tony Khan and I'm looking at that roster and I'm seeing the tag team division with the Young Bucks – almost called them the Hardys, FTR, the Lucha Bros. I mean, the Briscoes, you slide them right in there, right? And it makes a lot of sense. And then there's talk that Jeff Hardy wants to reunite with Matt. And if you put the Hardy Boys in the midst of that connection, that tag team division, it would be crazy. Matthew Underwood says there's a lot of talent out there. Johnny Power. I mean, Johnny Alliance. I mean, anything can happen, guys. It's really that crazy right now. And in Certified Hustler, I mean, he's throwing these out there, man. He's saying Billy's in negotiation with the Briscoes right now, and that doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't, because again, like I said, everybody's gonna want the Briscoes. Everyone's gonna want some of the top names from Ring of Honor, and I think they got Taven and Michael Bennett, and I'm a big Mike Bennett fan. They brought them in, so already, I mean, it's looking pretty good for the NWA in terms of some of the talents that are becoming available. I mean, we're talking about Rhett Titus from Ring of Honor. They mentioned Austin Aries, who's been basically a free agent, but the addition to the original Kingdom, I mean, there's a lot more guys who are coming in. Matthew, I don't think that Flip Gordon will be a part of the show. But, I mean, anything could happen, and he certainly fits that junior heavyweight class. I know that they're really big on Colby Corino, so maybe he'll be one of those guys that enters into that picture. I mean, a lot of people are just already under the assumption that Austin Aries is going to be the next junior heavyweight champion, but there's no guarantee in that. Jedi Warrior says, I had thought about Ring of Honor during their hiatus. Would it be feasible for the champions to keep defending their titles in other promotions until they start back up? I mean, Jedi Warrior, that's exactly what's happening, isn't it? You've got the tag team champions who are now defending in the NWA. I mean, I'm sure being in Tijuana, Mexico, watching the Crash Lucha Libre and seeing Bandito defend the Crash title in Mexico. I mean, he's still the Ring of Honor champion, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it would be awesome, completely awesome to see that if Bandito were to show up. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, United Wrestling Network, Championship Wrestling from Atlanta, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, AIW. I mean, there's so many different opportunities for these guys. And, you don't have to vacate the title if you are still a part of the roster, right? And then Willie says, what about Frankie Kazarian showing up in NWA Power or Hollywood? Frankie Kazarian, nothing but respect for Frankie Kazarian. He's been a guy that's been around the scene for a very, very long time, not only just in Southern California, but his ties to Impact, his ties to Ring of Honor. He's a guy that certainly could show up in any one of these places and would maybe be a good fit for the NWA. But as far as I know, he's still under AEW contract. And I don't know if you're going to see a lot of AEW talent come back to the NWA, especially with all the hullabub that's been going on with Tony Khan and not feeling like he was given his proper gratitude for allowing his women to take part in the Empower show. Now, one thing that did break just within the last day, maybe even this morning, that the NWA is partnering with the Pope's charity, the Love Alive charity. And they're going to present Duval Brawl 4. That show is taking place on January the 8th, 2022 in Jacksonville, Florida. That's the Pope's hometown. And it's benefiting the Love Alive organization, the Love Alive charity, TLC. And for those of you guys who don't know, right, the TLC, the Love Alive charity, is actually the Pope's charity. He's the founder and CEO. And the whole idea of that charity is to kind of benefit those who are less fortunate in that area. There's a lot of people out there, especially in the Jacksonville area, who are looking to be they need help. They need to have opportunities to kind of grow. And, their vision at the TLC is to improve the quality of life of less advantaged individuals, families, and communities throughout the humanitarian effort and charitable donations in Jacksonville. So, the Pope is kind of turning this opportunity for this show to benefit, again, the local community, but also to benefit the NWA. We saw what By Any Means Necessary looked like for the NWA. It ended up becoming a two episode Power replacement. I guess they're still technically Power episodes, but they were live events that were slotted in on those Power timelines. And I think those were a breath of fresh air. And the real beauty behind these shows it gives the viewing audience an opportunity to see the NWA in a different light. It also allows the NWA, in some regards, they're touring now. They were in St. Louis in September, or no, I guess that was August. They were in Kentucky in October, and now they're in Jacksonville in January. So, that's almost a touring schedule. I know it's not a lot of touring. It's not the WWE by any stretch. Hell, it's not even New Japan Strong. But the fact of the matter is that they're getting out there. And this was part of the process. This is what they were going for. Remember, back in 2019, the NWA introduced its first pop-up event where they co-promoted the New Year's event with Tried and True Pro Wrestling. Now, the original plan was for this to continue to happen until they decided to pull the trigger and get Power going on YouTube. So this was already kind of in the works, and we know that by Billy Corgan's own admission, had the pandemic not kicked off in 2020, we were supposed to see more live events for the NWA. They were looking at doing the Crockett Cup in Atlanta. I can't remember the gym, but it was the college, the university's gym, and they were really looking to bring more value to the NWA fans. So I really feel like events like this in Jacksonville and events like they just had in Kentucky, I think it's really going to help grow the NWA brand, as well as give us more fresh content, which, as fans of the NWA, that's what we're all looking for, right? And I'm looking at, you look at these ticket packages, and these ticket prices are very affordable. If you're in the surrounding area, or even if you're maybe like in, I don't know, Georgia, or like, any of the surrounding states, ticket prices, the VIP, which is like first entry plus front row seating, is only $25. Damn. That's downright reasonable. I spent $42 to sit in the, on floor seats, but way in the back for New Japan that were out here recently in Southern California. So I really feel like that might be a good way to go, right? And then, the second entry floor seating, $15. You can get combo packages that include the VIP tickets plus meet and greets for like $40. Damn, we went and saw Dan the Beast Severn and Ken Shamrock 2 weeks ago. Had them sign the 10 pounds of replica, and at that show, it cost me $85 to get 2 signatures and a photo op. And I don't regret my purchase, but I'm just saying, like, this is a huge value to the community in Jacksonville. Not only are they trying to get a great value for the fans, but they're also, these prices are very affordable. It's like, it's pretty cheap, guys. So again, if you're in that local area, make sure you check that out. Because again, we want to support these shows. If you're in those areas, you want to support these shows because that's how more of them will happen. We can't we can't just watch them on TV because there's no guarantee we'll get more of them. So as we're taking a break here in the discussion, let me get some water, and I'll tell you guys about something else. The 10 pounds of replica, in case you guys ever wanted to see it. The lighting is bad, but that's Dan Severn up there. Ric Flair, Rick Steamboat, Jax Dane, Blue Demon Jr., Cody Rhodes, Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis, Harley Race. I don't know who's. Oh, I think that might be Cody right there. Colt Cabana, AJ Styles, Jeff Jarrett, Raven, Satoshi Kojima, Dave Marquez, the franchise Shane Douglas, Tim Storm, Dory Funk, and Ken Shamrock. I mean, I think that's a pretty damn good list of names, and who knows, maybe there'll be another one added very, very soon. I don't know how I can make a podcast out of that, but if I can figure it out, Heebs, I'll let you know. You guys are really on top of it today. More of your comments. Roswell says, breathe, brother Jay. Yeah, Jesus. Whew. Okay. Yeah, Roswell. Exactly, man. Your local promotions, good bang for your buck. I mean, this is a win-win for the NWA fans. It's a win-win for the local community, especially this show is to benefit, again, a charity that's the Alive. I messed it up. I need to look it up again. The Love Alive charity. Again, it's supposed to help impoverished people in there. And yeah, I mean, I think it would be really cool if a lot of the NWA fans show up for that. Lamb, is Nick Aldis on it asking for a carbonizer? I don't know what that is. Yes, Lamb, Aldis did sign it. Aldis didn't always hate me. We were in China together. I mean, we did go to China together. Anyway, so you guys have me tearing apart the set and everything. Oh, carbonizer, jabroni, I get it. Let's talk about the last episode here on this season 6 of POWERRR. Looks like the show is going to be pretty good. One of the things that if you haven't been paying attention or you hadn't noticed, something that you should notice is that a lot of these matches were filmed without necessarily having a story behind it. And that's okay. I'm not talking anything negatively about the NWA. In an opportunity to showcase these shows, you're going to have to do stuff like that. You're going to have a lot of people. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. In order to have enough content to go for months at a time, you have to just get matches on film, right? You need to have content to distribute. And the storylines really are just kind of, put out live, weekly content. Now, I don't know that they knew at the time when they were filming these that by any means necessary was on the table. Maybe they did. I don't know. I'm not in those meetings, but seeing some of those matchups, Jax Dane tweeted that he's in a 2-on-1 handicap match. He's taking on Trevor Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch and Crimson, but he also has Jermiah Plunket as his tag team partner. That was funny to me. But let's just talk about the matches real quick, because again, this is the last of the tapings from St. Louis. So you won't see Certified Hustler on these shows anymore unless he ends up in Atlanta in 2 weeks. The Rude Dudes, Jamie Stanley and El Rudo, are taking on Colby Corino and JTG. Like, neither one of these teams advanced to the finals of the tag team tournament. So this match was probably just, again, another throwaway match, probably a dark match to see what they have, right? Because That's not the first time JTG and Colby team together. It's not the first time the Rude Dudes team together. And they're probably trying to see what's going to fit with the NWA going forward. Both these teams need the victory, pure and simple. If they're going to keep Colby and JTG together, which I don't feel like they're going to because of what happened at By Any Means Necessary, where Colby didn't even have JTG in his corner, I feel like maybe Colby is on his own path now. So by that deduction, I think maybe the Rude Dudes are looking for that victory tonight. Trevor Murdoch and Crimson against Jax Dane and Jermiah Plunket. I mean, that's going to be a fun match just because it's Jax Dane. If you guys didn't see the interview we did with Jax last Thursday night, you got to check it out. Jax was on it. Of course, one of the most humble, kindest dudes in all of pro sports, but he definitely was he was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to be on that show, on our podcast. And then, of course, we get a social distance match. I don't even know what that means. They didn't really explain the rules on Twitter. I mean, the graphic didn't really indicate anything, but I'm assuming it's going to be a silly rules for Taryn Terrell to step back in the ring. We haven't seen her wrestle at all this season, and she will be in the opposing Kenzie Paige. Kenzie Paige has only won one match in the NWA, enough to get a title shot, I suppose, but still, this match, I don't know how much invested I'm going to be in it. It might just be a fun little yawn fest. And I don't mean to be disparaging to either ladies, but it just, I don't know. I don't know what they're going for on that. And then lastly, which I assume is the main event, you have the Pope. We've been speaking a lot about him tonight. Former television champion, taking on Chris Adonis, your current NWA national champion. I don't believe this is a title defense, which is a damn shame because, honestly, Adonis hasn't defended the title against hardly anybody. But I think it should be a very, very good match. Again, both of these guys are good representatives of where the NWA is in terms of its roster and where they have the potential to become. And I really think it would be a lot of fun to see these guys in the ring. So, I mean, that's tonight's card. We're going to talk some more NWA here in a minute, but I want to get back to your guys' comments. Bobby Petito says he's excited to see Natalia Markova wrestling in the NWA on December 4th. She is his favorite wrestler. She is very talented. She'll be teaming with the Lady Frost as they take on Team Hex and Tootie Lynn and Kylie Ray, the returning Kylie Ray. Really hoping for Kylie Ray's mental health to continue to improve. She's such a phenomenal wrestler. She has a lot of the it factor. If she can just find balance in her life and hopefully continue to thrive, not only mentally, but in the world of professional wrestling. Heeb says they're cool matches tonight, but the weird match placement with hindsight being 2020. Absolutely. Again, it's what I was trying to say earlier is that they had to film all these matches in a vacuum, and they bob and weave to try to make these things mean something as a finished product. There's only a limited amount of time, and I don't know how much forethought has gone into these tapings before time, but I really feel like this would have been a great time for that to happen. When they have these matches, they can, at least this time around for the tapings, that maybe they could drive these matches a little bit more focused to the storylines and have that overarching storyline. Because, in the last season, essentially what we got was Strictly Business turning on Aldis. Trevor Murdoch really didn't have an opponent until By Any Means Necessary. There was no real interaction with Trevor Murdoch. You had Jax Dane and Crimson. Hopefully that the War Kings exploding has finally come to conclusion. Maybe this will be the last match we see with those guys for a while. We saw the emergence of Colby Corino. We saw the Pope and Aldis both take a backseat to Trevor Murdoch. We saw the tag team champions basically just disappear this season. They didn't really need to be a part of the show because they were crowning new number one contenders. So a lot of this stuff just kind of story arc didn't make sense. I mean, Melina being the number one contender for the women's championship. I mean, I know why they do that, but I just feel like they could have done a lot more to help grow this whole thing during this season. And I hope for season 7 that there's a greater emphasis on building up credible challengers without having to resort to tournaments. Judias and Chris Adonis, I mean, the only built up to this match was one promo, right? And they just never really did much to do getting this going. Lamb says Ellsworth versus Aldis 2 for 2 million views. If you guys don't know why our buddy Lamb keeps going to that joke, is basically because when the NWA was coming back and Aldis was champion, this was early 2018, one of the first matches he had on that 10 pounds of gold series was against Ellsworth, and they built it up so much so that it got 2 million views on YouTube. It's one of their most viewed videos. And before the NWA pulled everything off of YouTube, it was still one of the most viewed videos. And if you look at their content now, no video has close to 2 million views. So it really does show you that they did have capture lightning in a bottle with that. Bobby Petito says that he would like to see Jax Dane versus Shane Taylor. We talked about that on with the interview with Jax Dane. Shane Taylor is an asset, and anywhere he goes, he's going to be leaned on because of his abilities in the ring. And a match between Jax Dane and Shane Taylor would be just awesome. Two big guys doing big guys things. Lamb says, man, those gimmick matches on the NWA are yes. The gimmick matches, especially in the women's division. I mean, the Burke match that they did a few weeks ago at the Empower television show and of course, the social distance. These things are silly and unnecessary. I don't know why they choose to go this route. We had such a great moment for Empower. And honestly, had the editors of the show been a little bit more put a little bit more forethought into things, they could have probably done a second episode of Empower, and had a greater emphasis on the women's wrestling and not have to rely on stupid, silly gimmicks. I just think it's a goof. He says that he thinks Joey Janela or some other game changer guys did a social distance match, and they both did all their moves and bumped 6 feet away from each other. I mean, if that's what this is, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. Extremely. Terry McDermott says he hopes that the Pope beats the national champion to a pulp. And I do too, man, because you know what? Chris Adonis, the guy looks like $1 million. You cannot take that away from him. And I don't blame him for the inadequacies of the booking, but come on, this guy looks like $1 million. He can cut a decent promo, and they do almost nothing with him. The national title has been neutered by the NWA itself. This title has more prestige than the national championship. I mean, look at just the list of champions, right? If we were to compare notes here, the former national champions are who? Willie Mack, Colt Cabana, James Storm, back to Cabana, Aaron Stevens, Trevor Murdoch, and now Chris Adonis. So that's 7 champions, or technically 8 if you want to count the second title victory for Adonis. And the title has been almost absent from Power this entire season. I don't think we saw one title match. Now let's flip on the other side. Look at the TV title. Since its inception at Hard Times, the first one, Ricky Starks won it in a pretty awesome tournament. Then you had Zicky Dice. And then you had the global pandemic that put everything on pause. And then you had the Pope. And the Pope had an amazing run as television champion. And then you got it on Tyrus, and it's been a little bit lackluster, but at least they had built a storyline for Tyrus. At least the Pope had a storyline as TV champion. Adonis hasn't had either of those. He hasn't even had a real credible opponent. They brought in JTG, which the dude looks like $1 million, but they didn't give him any story time. They didn't make this a palatable match. They just threw it together. So yeah, I agree, Terry. I hope that the Pope beats him to a pulp. Jedi Warrior says that Chase Owens has expressed interest in the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Imagine a Bullet Club shows up at Hard Times too. I mean, The Bullet Club showed up in Impact. The Bullet Club is in New Japan Strong. The Bullet Club is still in Japan. Look, Chase Owens, not taking anything away from the guy. He's a credible athlete. He's very good. New Japan doesn't take losers. They don't take slobs. This guy's a very good talent. He's a prodigy of pro wrestling. I think he'd fit right into the NWA, and I think he'd fit right into the junior heavyweight division. He's a lot bigger than he was when he was junior heavyweight champion, but it seems like the junior heavyweight championship is going to be very lenient on that weight class. It's not really specific to like light heavyweight guys. I mean, I think they're going to go for the full 220 and under, which means about half the roster could really apply for this match. And I mean, when you see names like C.W. Anderson, like he's a junior heavyweight. Okay. But I mean, with that being said, then why not the Pope? There's a lot of guys that could have fit in there. Bobby Petito says that he would like to see Jonathan Gresham show up in the NWA. Again, yeah, absolutely. I've seen Jonathan Gresham twice this year live, once in Atlanta, once in Riverside, once for United Wrestling Network, once for New Japan Strong. And the guy is just a phenomenal wrestler. There's probably nobody better than Jonathan Gresham when it comes to pure wrestling as it stands today. And I even put that up against Daniel Bryan. That match absolutely would Bryan Danielson. That match would absolutely blow the doors off of any venue. But, up until recently, Jonathan Gresham didn't really fit in with what the NWA was going for. Now, as it stands, I mean, in his current, stature, he would make an excellent World Junior Heavyweight Champion. I mean, like a phenomenal World Junior Heavyweight Champion. And it's not like he wasn't close to holding that title in the past. Some of you might remember the relationship that the NWA had with 0-1. And some of you might know that Jonathan Gresham was a 0-1 Junior Heavyweight Champion when they recognized the NWA Cloverleaf Championship as their own. Long story there. If you guys want to hear it, why not? Craig Classic, the former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship, in protest of the NWA stripping the Sheik of the 10 pounds of gold, took the Cloverleaf Championship to 0-1 and basically surrendered the title to 0-1, who at that point was no longer a member of the NWA. It was a very odd act. It didn't really coincide with really anything. It was basically as far as I'm concerned, it seemed like he stole the belt and delivered it to 0-1. 0-1 never bothered to return that title. In fact, they made their own NWA, calling it the New Wrestling Alliance. And at one point, Jonathan Gresham was the New Wrestling Alliance champion. In fact, he held the Triple Crown of Junior Heavyweight Championships in 0-1. And he would be amazing in the NWA as a Junior Heavyweight champion. But again, I don't think that's where he wants to be looked at. And as our pal Sean Mega says, Gresham is tired of being looked at as a small guy. He wants to be world champion. I mean, technically, he still would be world champion, but that goes on without saying. Willie Bowen likes to bring up the Reno Scum Midnight Heat. I lost your comment there. The Briscoes would certainly bring excitement to the NWA Power Tag Team division. And I think you're right, Willie, in as we get closer to what Certified Hustler said, I really do believe that the Crockett Cup will be one of the early pay-per-views of 2022 for the NWA. It just feels like they're building towards that. The fact that they're bringing in the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. They already had a tournament on their own show. And who knows, after this weekend, maybe MLW will have a tag team. Their tag team champions, the 5150, could be available. Obviously, the NWA tag team champions, La Rebellion, could be available. There's so many good tag teams available that can be a part of the Crockett Cup 2022. And there's still people who think that FTR might be a part of it. So if it happens, when it happens, there's a lot of tag teams that would be great. And I really think that Reno Scum would be great because they're not really tied to any specific promotion right now. And of course, Midnight Heat, I believe the Midnight Heat just won the United Wrestling Network tag team titles. So, not that the NWA and United Wrestling Network have a working relationship, but for a one-night booking, why the hell not? Lamb says he loved Plunket as NWA champion. See, now Lamb's got jokes, guys. Lamb and Willie have jokes. Again, the national championship really just wasn't treated the way it should be. And I don't want to blame Adonis because, look, Adonis just shows up and says, all right, Billy, what do you need me to do? I mean, let's be honest. He's not there barking orders at the NWA to say, all right, book me this way or put me in this match. He's there to get a paycheck. He's there to do what he's told. I'm sure he loves working for the NWA. I'm sure he enjoys his time there. But let's be honest, he's not making the call. He's doing what's told. Bobby Petito says he'd like to see the Force of Nature, Riley Matthews, and Big Mama. Both of them are very talented, and he watched them last Saturday on Mission Pro as they wrestled against the Renegade Twins. I'm not familiar with them whatsoever, but like I said earlier, in 2022, we're going to try to cover more Mission Pro wrestling. We're going to try to talk more about Mission Pro, so maybe I'll learn more about them. My boy Tim, I love you, Tim, but this kills me. Yes, Plunky is a junior heavyweight. Wait, you're meaning, you said Plunky. I read Punky. Okay, yeah. I wouldn't think that Jermiah Plunket is a junior heavyweight, but I mean, he could be. I thought you were referring to the Rock and Roll Express member, Ricky Morton, who is a former NWA World Junior Heavyweight as well. And we'll talk about let's break in the action. Let's talk about the junior heavyweight tournament. A lot of these names seem very odd, and we talked about it earlier with Austin Aries and Jonathan Gresham, Colby Corino. There's a lot of names in the NWA who basically have their name in the hat. Rhett Titus taking an opportunity at this junior heavyweight championship. I know he came out and said something very classy and very well articulated about his time as junior heavyweight champion. But Barrett Brown, to me, it's the biggest shame in the NWA in recent memory that he wasn't included, at least included in this whole shebang. He was the last junior heavyweight champion, and he did everything that the NWA had asked him to do. If you go back and look at Jazz, she was the same way. A lot of the a lot of the champions were stripped of their titles. The Heat Seekers were stripped of the tag titles. Tokyo Monster Kahagas was stripped of the North American Championship. Mustang Mike was stripped of the National Championship. All these champions lost their belts, but they froze the junior heavyweight champion and the women's champion. And, it made sense because the idea was that they were going to bring both of them back at some point. Now the NWA shifted its focus and was focusing more on heavyweight wrestling, right? So, I mean, Tim Storm was your world champion, and then Aldous is your world champion. And then when they had the opportunity to bring back another championship, they brought the women's champion back in Jazz, restored that title. She didn't lose anything. She went out there and had an opportunity to defend that championship until she stepped down as champion. That never happened with Barrett Brown, 50 caliber. I mean, he went out there at the 70th anniversary show, had a killer match, an absolute banger with Laredo Kid from AAA, now Impact, and he doesn't even get the opportunity to wrestle for that title. Now, look, they could have made this right very simply by putting him in the finals of the match, or just, hell, let them create a number one contender, and they would face Barrett Brown on the pay-per-view. Or, hey, not even the pay-per-view. Maybe the next pay-per-view. I don't care. I don't care when it happens. The fact of the matter is Barrett Brown deserved better than that. I think it sucks. I know he's classy and he's not going to say too much more about it, but he certainly deserved an opportunity to defend that title, especially because he did everything the right way. If you're a fan of Barrett Brown, you can still watch him in New Japan Strong. He's part of the Stray Dogs, but still, I really feel like that was disappointing. Terry McDermott says that don't be shocked if Billy puts a junior heavyweight championship on Ellsworth. there are a few guys in the NWA who, or there are a few guys in independent wrestling who I think are too nuclear to work with. One of them would be Tessa Blanchard, and I think the NWA knew that. And the other would be James Ellsworth. I don't think they're going to do business with Ellsworth. I could be wrong, but I just don't feel like that's going to happen. Bobby Petito would like to see Lindsay Snow versus Camille. Lindsay Snow had only had one match in the NWA, and I was at Circled Squared, and I really feel like she would have been a perfect addition to the show, but never happened. Chase Owens is a heavyweight. Showcasing him in the NWA as a junior would hurt his position in New Japan after his G1 win versus Tanahashi. And he's the self-proclaimed Texas champion too. I mean, I don't think we're there yet, but with the NWA adding so many titles to the promotion, how long is it before we get a Mid-Atlantic championship or a Midwest championship or a Texas heavyweight champion? I mean, that's probably the route they should just go anyway. Sean Mega says world heavyweight champion. Yeah, I got you, Sean. I got what you're saying. Jonathan Gresham is a great athlete. Like I said, he's probably the greatest wrestler in the world right now. And that's not hyperbole. He is phenomenal. But I don't think you'll ever see in the Billy Corgan NWA Jonathan Gresham holding the 10 pounds of gold. I could be mistaken. Rhett Titus is 230, but he is in the qualifying match. Again, I think these weights are going to be worked. I think they're going to, he's on a diet or whatever. You know, they're not going to give you genuine artifact. They're working us all. Jedi Warrior says the NWA and the MLW is a holy grail partnership. I just don't see it happening. And that's based on a lot of reasons. I just don't see it happening. Bobby Petito says he'd like to see Bandito get an opportunity to wrestle in the NWA. I mean, look, I'm sure I'm sure there's a desire for the NWA, but I don't know if, it doesn't make sense to me unless you're really going to. A guy like Bandito is not going to be a free agent for long. He's going to end up signing with either AEW or Impact, or he's just going to go back to Mexico, and when Japan opens up, go back and forth between Japan and Mexico and working U.S. Indies. He doesn't necessarily need to have a contract to be relevant and to make money in pro wrestling. Willie Bowen says he'd like to see Ruby Reyes, my girl, Taya Valkyrie, and Viperous would be great for the NWA Women's Division. Also, Heather Monroe. Heather Monroe just won the Memphis Championship Wrestling from Memphis Women's Championship, which I say might as well make that the United Wrestling Network Women's Championship. Rhett Titus looks real skinny, though, Sean Mega. Also, everyone bumped their weight around to look good on paper TV. Yeah, Heaves is right. Some of these guys, some of these guys are legitimately under 200 pounds, but they won't ever admit to it. Sean Mega says, is Barrett Brown other gimmick Americos? It was. He definitely broke into the business as Americos. When he was wrestling in, I think it was, I can't remember the promotion's name, but as Americos, he was underaged. And part of the reason why he wrestled under the mask is because he looked a lot younger than he was. I think he said he was wrestling at 16, 17. So putting him under the mask at least it kind of hid the fact how young he was. Matthew Underwood says Drake Maverick is an obvious guy to put in the junior heavyweight division. 100%, Matt. I just don't know that, again, I don't know that he's going to have an opportunity to wrestle for the NWA. I don't think he's going to be around for very while on the independents. I really see the Impact. It's an assumption that he would go back to Impact with his history there. But again, I know he was part of that Billy Corgan area of Impact. So maybe he would come back or come to the NWA and work for Billy. And yeah, Sean Mega, you're right. It was TCW. You're absolutely correct. Bobby Petito says Kiera Hogan is wrestling tonight on AEW Dark. And, Kiera Hogan recently came out in an article saying that she kind of feels lost in the shuffle and was grateful for her time in the NWA. Hopefully we see more of it. Bobby Petito says he'd like to see Carl Frederick show up in the NWA, another guy who'd make sense in that junior heavyweight division. In fact, all those young lions would make sense. The guys that came out of the LA dojo, Carl Fredericks, Clark Connors, Alex Coughlin. Alex Coughlin's a beast. The match he had with Josh Barnett, amazing. Willie Bowen says Trevor Murdoch versus Charlie Haas would be a great match. No denying that at all. Sean Mega says he hopes that the second show is for junior heavyweights, like a 205 live, a 220 at 605. I don't know. Bobby Petito says he'd like to see more of Jamie Senegal and Bianca Carali and Christy Janes in the NWA. 100% agree with you on Christy Janes. I'm not really sold on Bianca Carelli and Jamie Senegal. I mean, if they bring in Poyle Damar to manage her, I'm okay. But as of right now, I'm not a huge Jamie Senegal fan. I was kind of disappointed in her efforts at the Empower pay-per-view, and I had heard so much good about her. I was a little disappointed. And then maybe the comment of the night, Willie Bowen says, how about Kevin Frazier being the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship? He would have made a great junior heavyweight champion, but he is retired. Now, I know if Billy Corgan wanted him to be in, he could have been. His dream opponent is Rey Mysterio. Anyone wants to see a final match for our pal Kevin Frazier, book him against Rey Mysterio. NWA Gold, thank you for saying that. Remember, it takes 5 seconds to like, share, and subscribe. So, gang, community, family, brothers, and sisters, hit that like button, subscribe, share. We're running out of time. Real quick programming note, on Thursday, we normally cover NWA POWERRR. It would be Kevin, DKM, and myself. But here in the United States, we are celebrating Thanksgiving, a time we like to be grateful and spend time with our families. However, I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. If you want to still be a part of the podcast, we will be showing a very special look at the 10 pounds. Not the 10 pounds, the junior heavyweight title. We're calling it the pound for pound, a retrospective of the junior heavyweight division, because pound for pound, the junior heavyweights were the best talents around, and I think you guys will enjoy that. It'll be Kevin Frazier, DKM, and myself as we discuss the junior heavyweight division from yesteryear. Now, that was filmed a little while ago before the announcement that the NWA would be bringing back the World Junior Heavyweight Championship. So it's kind of cool that we have an opportunity now to show this when the Junior Heavyweight Championship has now become relevant. So, again, that's really cool. It's awesome. Glad that we'll be able to show that. I hope you guys will look for that. If you don't want to watch on Thanksgiving, I completely understand, but it will be available on YouTube afterwards. So, if you'd like to check that out, that'd be great. Now, we're going to wrap it up here, but I do want to, again, thank everyone for being here, part of the show. This is one of the best parts of my week, is sitting here talking wrestling with you, the NWA fam, and that hashtag NWA fam community. If you like what you see here, make sure you do hit that thumbs up. You like, you subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. But the key is to subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on twitch.tv. But we also have our audio platform as well. You can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Sketcher, whatever it is. And really, if you just hit the Alliance blog and type in podcast, you'll find us on the internet. Like I said, available on most platforms. If you really like the show and you want to help support it financially, you could do so by picking up one of these cool hats or a t-shirt. The merch link is in the bio. Just click it. If you would like to buy a t-shirt, that'd be great. We're going to come up with some new designs right before Christmas. If you guys want to get a beanie, that's going to be available soon. And that's going to do it. Again, we thank you guys so much for being a part of the show every week. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you on Thursday. But until then, we'll see you at the matches. Have a good